Good evening, everyone. I am your host and instructor, Laney Shaughnessy. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, you all can hear me. Thanks for welcoming me back, Ron. And hello, Brian Gidney. Hey, buddy. Long time no see. Summers Woodworking. Hope everything is well. And hey, Stephen, Mary. Hello, everybody. Right now, I'm just now into my new location, so the acoustics in here are a little echoey. There's not a whole lot on the wall. You can see behind me. This isn't going to be the permanent place of my desk. Everything's going to be moved, so I can have some bare background as soon as I get my shelves and everything up, and all. But I want to thank you all for your patience while I've been away. I've just moved up to Maryland, as many of you know. What has been now 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the getting the new house situated and getting the office set up and all has been a work in progress. And but I'm glad to be back with you guys tonight. I was worried about the World Series tonight possibly interfering with the broadcast and everything. Go Nats, you know, they're in there. But I'm glad many of you have jumped in and are joining me here. We got a new look for Spindle TV. We're using a new broadcaster, so I'm hoping that this broadcaster is going to be phenomenal for me as far as streaming. We made sure when we moved into the new location that we had the best internet possible to make sure that we keep buffering and things down to a minimum. You're going to see some new branding and stuff come up, and then you're going to see a lot of changes on the Spindle TV channel with regards to a little bit of organization to the videos, maybe some categories and playlists and everything. So I hope you look forward to these changes as they're being made, as I make them and stuff. And we're about to get spindletv.com launched and everything. Right now, it's an under construction website. If you went there now, there's nothing on there but a bunch of Latin and things, but getting ready for that launch and all. And it's going to be a great resource for blogs and articles, downloads, digital downloads, project files and things like that, just general information regarding the world of CNC. So I made some great relationships this past weekend when I was in Denver, Colorado or the weekend before. I was in Denver, Colorado at the Vectric conference. We had the Vectric user group conference over there where I was a presenter, one of the presenters of many great presenters and everything, and made some great relationships over there with some of the people. And so we're going to see some of their information and articles featured on Spindle TV, and it's going to be exciting. Now, while I was away, especially at the Vectric conference and everything, one of the main things it covered was talking about VCarve and Aspire 10. You know, when I say VCarve, I'm generalizing VCarve Desktop and VCarve Pro. That falls under the VCarve line. So, and then Aspire. So one of the things I wanted to do is see if I could relay some of the newer features in the version 10 of VCarve and Aspire to you guys and girls, just in this kind of comeback video, this first initial video back after 4 or 5 weeks being away, and see if I can make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what's new with the software. We're not going to be able to cover everything. There was a lot of great new features and all added and stuff, but hopefully we can cover some of the cooler key points and you know, general key points as well, but make something of it. The My hope is that once I get things going, oops, did I lose audio? We still, yeah, we should still be rocking. Okay, sorry about that. I'm hoping to get the channel really laid out, and when we start doing classes and everything, not just our live classes, but the pre-recorded videos as well, we're going to be able to categorize these things with what new features are, what features I'm talking about are features of VCarve Desktop, VCarve Pro, Vectric Aspire. And as I'm running through these things, some of the things that you'll see pop up, you'll see little key things pop up when I'm talking about, a particular topic and what these features relate to, what software they may be related to. You're also going to be able to see some of the newer features. You'll see a little change that I'm going to be making in my background and stuff with regards to when we're talking beginner level. You're going to see as I get into more advanced topics or intermediate topics and advanced topics, if I'm covering something that's, might be stepping up the game a little bit in that particular subject we're talking about, you're going to be able to see or, an identifier letting you know kind of, we're still beginner level, or we might be ramping it up to an advanced level when we're talking about certain topics. And it's going to be able to allow you to gauge your level of understanding or learning, how, what you're learning from me. And hopefully I'm going to be able to teach you a lot of things. Now, the office isn't completely set up, my backdrop and all, that's all going to be new. One of the things, the shop where the CNC is, I'm really wanting to get set up, because I want to spend a lot of time in the shop with you guys and girls and kind of take it a little bit away from the Vectric software in occasions and get on the CNC machine when it talks about tool setup and feeds and speeds and chip loads, and when we get into actually running jobs and things, maintenance and all that stuff. I want to be at the shop. I want to be at the machine. I want to be there when I'm talking to you and everything. And I'm hoping to get that set up relatively soon in the near future. I don't know why I'm wearing a hat. I had a haircut, but I have hat head, so we're gonna stick with the hat right now. But I'm really wanting this channel to take it from beginning to end, with the different projects. For all of you that have been waiting for me to do videos on probing, to do videos on the new joint making jig and things like that, they are coming. They're literally right around the corner. But I need to be at the shop. I need to be in front of the CNC when I'm doing that. And so there's going to be some awesome changes. I'm really pumped up, especially from that Vectric conference and everything. Super pumped up. Hopefully you guys are getting the feedback. I either have ringing in my ears or there's a feedback issue somewhere. But I'm really got pumped up with talking with Vectric and everything, and creating a real good working relationship with them. It's becoming a training channel and stuff. So it's really going to make me and Spindle TV step up our game to provide you with the best information possible with all related CNC, from design to tool settings and tool uses and tools in general, to carving, to set up and actually running the projects and getting into the controller software. Now, my controller software that I'll be training on is the Planet CNC TNG controller software. We'll touch a little bit back on CNC USB controller. You will not see me using or touching on Mach 3 and controllers like that. Unfortunately, it's not because I don't want to or anything. It's because I don't have a machine that's set up with them in order for me to be able to really utilize the software to understand it in a way that I could educate or teach it. I'm going to teach you what I know. I'm going to teach you what I understand. I'm going to teach you, what I feel is going to be very informative to you, to help you increase your skill level with your carving game. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or an advanced carver, a sign company, out of your car garage, a weekend warrior, whatever your skill level and whatever your performance level is as far as carving and stuff, I want to hit all of those points. And that's what Spindle TV is going to be. It's going to be the ultimate training channel. That's our goal. And, there's minor changes being made right now leaning towards that advanced change, especially when we get spindletv.com launched. You're going to see new things on Spindle training videos at Spindle TV on Facebook, which is basically Spindle training videos page. You're going to see a lot of content popping up on that channel and things relating to these live videos, relating to the non-live pre-recorded videos that are, subject related and all of that. So I'm really hoping that all of that comes really rapidly around the corner for you, the end users, because I want you guys to recommend. Oh, I just hit my button and dropped my chair down. I really want you guys to have a reference channel to turn to, and then also be able to recommend to your fellow friends and carvers and things like that, and really get Spindle TV up to where it needs to be as far as viewer activity and subscribers and things. All right, enough of the talk. Let's go ahead and let's get over into the software and see what we can come up with here. All right, for the first part of the software, you're going to see me over here on the left side of the screen, and the screen's small, so it might be a little hard for your eyes to see everything, but we're going to be jumping into the actual program here in just a moment, and where you'll be able to see things. But while I'm talking, I want to be able to hit some key things and stuff to show you what's new. Now, many of you may or may not have made the move over to VCarve 10. Don't worry if you didn't. If you haven't moved over to Vectric version 10, everything that I cover can be done in 8, 8.5, 9, 10, heck, even the earlier versions, and things. So don't think that, I'm going to be, working on doing things that you can't do. Now, some of the features, like the new clipping features in the modeling tools and stuff, and the new ability to node edit multiple items and things like that. Some of the features are going to be version specific, okay? They're going to be version specific, depending on your version. You might not have those features and might not be able to do them, but the project at hand still can be completed to its entirety. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, cover or do too many things to where it's unrelatable to half my audience. I'm going to make sure that the projects I cover can be done in desktop, can be done in Pro, can be done in Aspire. And there's going to be those separations. We're going to be doing projects that are Aspire related projects and everything. We're going to be doing VCarve related projects. And when I say, again, I'm generalizing, when I say VCarve, I'm talking about Vectric VCarve Desktop and Vectric VCarve Pro. We're going to have those specific tasks and stuff that those software versions can do and all, but you're not, don't feel like, oh, you know what, this is the, I'm not going to be able to do this because it's Aspire and all I have is VCarve and everything. Because it's not necessarily the project, it's the tools. The same platforms still apply, the same tools are still there. It's just some features, some tools may not be available in your version of their software and all, but don't let that deter you, because there's workarounds, and I can even talk about those workarounds and stuff. So I'm really excited about all of this, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, I don't have a specific project that we're actually going to work on today. We're going to be kind of, randomizing some different projects and all. What my goal is in tonight's comeback class, if you will, after being gone for a few weeks, is just to do some drawings and things and show some of the newest features in 10. That's what tonight's topic is, version 10. So if you haven't made the leap over to version 10, then this will give you some insight as to what you could expect when you do. And if you have made the leap over to version 10, hopefully we touch on some things that you may not have really kind of explored yet. Right? That's my goal. That's my hope and everything with tonight. So I'm pumped up. I hope you're pumped up. Looks like Ronnie's excited. So let's get going and everything. And I want to welcome everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. And so far, I'm watching kind of my stream feedback, and I've got Sam, the love of my life. She's watching as well to make sure that this new setup is doing good as far as the buffering and stuff. And she's going to give me a report at the end of all this and let me know if there's areas we might need to work on as far as the streaming. But so far, knock on wood. Thank you, Dave Gatton, if you happen to be with me tonight. If not, shout out to you for recommending StreamYard for the new broadcaster. So far, so good. It seems to be working very well as far as streaming goes. And hey, thank you to Comcast, our internet service, for providing such great internet service to allow me to stream very well to you. All right, welcome everyone, and let's get into this. All right, so for the general setup, and for those of you that are new, let's go ahead and kind of let's imagine we're starting from the beginning. I'm in Vectric VCarve Pro right now, and the things I'm going to be talking about are relatable to Pro, Desktop, or Desktop Pro and Aspire. When there is a specific version related to features, something, you will see my program change to that program and stuff, and you'll also see those little banners pop up. If there's whatever it's related to, like you just saw on the screen. You know what I mean? But in our Vectric software, for those of you that are new to Vectric and might be joining us tonight, first thing we always have to do with every job is we got to set it up. We got to tell the software what type of material we're working with. What not type, what size our material is, what's our job size, and how we're starting off and all. So for me tonight, I have a choice of a single-sided job, a two-sided job, or a rotary job. I'm going to start off with a single-sided project. Okay. Now, the width of my screen, left to right, represents the x-axis of my CNC. The height of my screen, up and down, represents the y-axis of my CNC. So however I'm going to orientate that board on my table, it's how I'm going to put my numbers into my box. So for this project, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a 20-inch long project that is 11¼ inches wide. Basically, a 1x12 board is cutting a 20-inch length off of a 1x12 board. That's what we're going to be working on tonight. Now it's 3/4 inch thick, and so that's going to be my setup. Now, for those of you that that are new, if my board was going to be orientated along the y-axis of my CNC, then those numbers would be reversed. So my 11¼ would be running along that x-axis, and my 20 inches would be running along that y, because I'm going to be orientating that board on my table in that position along my y-axis, right? So, but in this case, I'm going to be orientating along the x. So let's go ahead and get back to where we were. All right. Now, Z0, where do we set our Z0 and things? And a lot of times you're going to be touching off on the top of the material. A lot of times you're going to be touching off on the bottom of the material, the machine bed it's referred to as in the software. This refers to whatever that material is setting on, okay? And this, again, for those of you that have been with me for a while, you know this, but this is for the new guys and girls that are joining us. So we can touch off our Z and zero out our Z on the top of our material, and that'd be Z0, or we can set out on the machine bed. Now, the machine bed is a general term. It means either our actual tabletop of our CNC, if we're clamped directly to the tabletop, or the waste board of our CNC if we have a waste board on our table and our material is clamped to that waste board. So it's basically the bottom of your material, whatever it's sitting on would be Z0 if you're working off the machine bed. Okay, so you all know that my setup, I do have a waste board on my table, and for those of you that have been with me for a while, and I work off the machine bed. And one of the reasons, and I'll reiterate it again for the new folks and stuff, one of the reasons that I work off of the machine bed, which is my waste board, is because my waste board is not just a sacrificial board that I can cut into when I'm cutting through projects and stuff. It's actually a jig that holds my material as well. So my waste board has a 90-degree fence on it where I can reference my material to. I can use cam clamps, I can use mechanical clamps and hold downs, I can use vacuum clamping, whatever type of clamping method I need, double side tape and things, or hot glue. But because it is also kind of doubles as a jig, I don't want to spoil my spoil board, right? I don't want to beat it up. So by working off the machine bed as my Z0, what that does for me is it sets the zero on that waste board. So when I'm cutting, if I was cutting through, doing a profile cut all the way through my material, but the software basically, instead of cutting from 0 to 3/4, right? It cuts backwards basically from 3/4, the top of my board, down to 0, and it stops at 0. So that means that I'm going to cut cleanly through my material and just kiss the top of my waste board. I might see some small tool marks and things in there, but I'm not going to be digging into my waste board and where I have to keep surfacing it, you know, and planing it out and stuff and all. So I like using the machine bed, but that doesn't mean that would be your preference. Okay, you're going to do what's best for you. There's going to be occasions where you won't use the machine bed. If you're doing a general VCarve or some general carving where you're not cutting a project out, the cutting through and cutting into a waste board all might not be a concern of yours. You might just be doing carving on the top. So you would set the top of the material as your reference. You know, this is good for if I'm using a board that I haven't run through a planer and all. It might be a little rough sawn and stuff. I wouldn't want to reference off the top of that board because I could be in a saw mark or something. I could be referencing in a low spot or a high spot. So referencing on a known flat surface, my machine bed, which would be my tabletop or my waste board, gives me a known flat surface to reference off of when I'm cutting through or surfacing this, you know, rough piece of material, right? All right, enough about the Z0 position. I'm going to work off the machine bed. You'll see that in my setup here. Now, the XY datum, I just told you that my waste board has a 90-degree fence on it that all of my project boards reference to. So for me, my XY0, my home position, my XY datum position, my start position, however you want to call it, you know, and it comes by many names. It all means the same thing. But in the software, it's referred to as the XY datum position. My datum position is the bottom left corner, right at the 90-degree, you know, corner there. So it's the bottom left corner of my material. Okay. Now you might be free clamping your material on your table, and you may want to start in the center of the material. You know, you can work from any of the 4 corners of your board, or you can work from the center. You know, your CNC machine might have a fixed home position, but your board might be clamped, you know, somewhere out in the field. And so then you would use an offset to tell it where, you know, offsetting from 0 of your machine to where your project board is. There's a lot of different ways to use the XY datum. If you're doing live edge boards and you don't really have a defined corner to work with, then you're most likely going to find the center of that carving area that you want to work within. And so you would set your job up to work from center, right? But for me, I have a known reference point, my 90-degree fence, so I'm going to work off the bottom left corner. Now, I'm going to have models in the software. We're going to be talking about models. We're going to be talking about VCarve, and we're going to be talking about 2D stuff and all. So I want to make sure that my modeling resolution is set to a very high resolution. What this does, this gives me more pixels in my 3D view when it's generated, so that my model gets generated non-pixelated and stuff with those 4 million pixels and stuff to work with. And that is going to affect the quality of my cut. If I was in a low resolution, working with a model, working with 1 million pixels to generate that 3D view, then that pixelation will actually translate over into the quality of the cut of your model. So the higher the resolution, the better, and things and stuff. And we're not going to get into the advanced features of the modeling resolution because there are 2 hidden features and things. We'll get into that. I've gotten into that in past classes and all, but we'll get into that in another project because it's not about that. It's about, talking about some of the new things happening in version 10 and then going through some of your questions and stuff. Now, last thing on my job setup, my appearance, right? We can set that appearance to look like a piece of wood, piece of material, metal, plastic and things and all, or a solid color. I like working with maple or Canadian maple simply because it gives me this nice white background. So when I'm previewing a toolpath, I don't have a whole lot of wild grain in my background and stuff that's, I can't see the detail in the cut and everything. But the appearance absolutely has nothing to do with the type of material that you're cutting in. Okay, it's just for preview purposes only, and there's a couple of places where you can change or adjust the appearance and the type of material that you're carving in, and I'll show you that when we get over into a toolpath and stuff. But let's go ahead and click OK on our job setup, and let's get back to our 2D view. Up here we have our 2D view, and let's get back to the basics and things and all. And welcome, we still got people jumping in and all that stuff, so awesome. Ken Singleton, everybody else, shout out to Ken. If there's sharpness going in and out or anything, let me know, because this is all stuff that all feedback that I need with this new streaming platform and all, if things are blurred or focused or things like that. All I see is a small little preview. So I don't see the full big picture and everything. So shout out to Ken Singleton if you guys are experiencing the same things as he's experiencing and all. All right. First thing and all, let's get to the kind of the basics of the features and all. We all know, hopefully, and even if you're new and all, you're going to learn now. In the Vectric software, we do have access to the help contents, a active or interactive manual, if you will, 400 plus pages manual of information about the different tools and functions within the Vectric software, VCarve or Aspire. Well, in version 10, they took it a step further. They've actually added a new help icon right here next to the icon that switches us from CAD to CAM and back and forth and stuff. Well, next to the that switching icon is a little help question mark here. You'll see that on both sides. Well, this is a wonderful thing because when I'm actually in a tool and I'm working with a tool and stuff, if I need help on that tool or I want to learn a little bit more about it, I can now, while that tool is open, I can now click on the question mark here that says get help on this, and it's going to open up a page of the manual right directly to the information on that tool that I have open. So it's going to take us right to the information that we are looking for right then and there. Kudos to Vectric on doing that, making things a lot easier to access. And you'll notice in the manual, they have a menu across the top showing that will take you to tutorial videos. It'll take you to the Vectric website if you want to go there. You can view things in a single page format. You can go to the keyboard, just see all the keyboard shortcuts. It's all kind of right there, a little shortcut for you. But when you click on that help button, get help on this, basically, it's going to take you right to where you need to be for the information that you're looking for on that specific tool that you have open and everything, which is phenomenal. Now there's no more hunting and pecking, looking for information and things and stuff. So great on that. There has been some enhancements to the drawing and editing tools throughout the Vectric software, and within the drawing tools, let's go ahead and get a couple of objects on the screen, and I'm just drawing some random objects and everything and all. We as of 9.5 or 9 and 9.5, we were introduced to the new snapping tools and everything, which allow us to take and snap one object to another to different points and things. It'll automatically, it's called smart snapping and geometry snapping. I can snap to a particular part of my board or work area, or I can, snap to various points of another object and things, depending on what I'm wanting to work with. We know that. That's an earlier version, Laney. We're supposed to be talking about 10 and things. Well, if I ever wanted to go in and edit an object and things, let's say I go into node editing and stuff, I would be basically doing one project at a time in 8, 8.5, 9, and 9.5 and things. And so I would have to, make my changes, whatever they may be, come over, click on the next one, and do its thing. And now I have the ability to select all of my items and go into node editing on all of them all at one time. So when I'm working with things, I can now get much faster in my design process to make whatever changes. That looks like a little hiney. Let's take that out. That looks like somebody's tush. But I can make those adjustments and all much faster now. Less mouse movements and clicks and things going from one object to the other. I can now select everything that I want to edit, and I can go through and do all of my editing at one time with those objects selected when I'm in node editing mode. And that, for me as a designer, makes me very happy because anything that I can do to reduce my design time, whether it be even, a simple mouse movement and things like that, or a click, or to open a menu, or this or that, any little thing that I can do to reduce my time to speed up my performance, that helps me, especially since I sell my projects and stuff. That little bit of time that I'm saving, chiseling away, it adds up, and time is money, right? So it gives me the ability to be a little bit faster and all, being able to work with all of my objects that I need to edit all at once. So again, love that feature and that function and everything. Let's go ahead and let's get rid of those for a moment. Let's go back in here, and we all may or may not know, but we don't have to necessarily use the menu over here. We can freehand draw. We can use our keyboard shortcuts with a circle. Basically, it's typing in a value. And in this case, if you look at the bottom right corner of the screen, 2.5 value, and then I hit D for diameter, I can create that, that diameter. And I said 2.5, but I meant 2.2. We can use those keyboard shortcuts and stuff. But I want to get some objects on the screen here. And let's make this one a little bit smaller. I'm going to hold my shift key down to keep it centered on itself. I just want to reduce it in size and stuff, and kind of go from there. Now, within our tools and stuff, we have our drawing tools. We have our modeling tools, which we're going to talk about some of the new features in the modeling tools, especially the component level clipping and things. We have our layers box where we can work with our layers and stuff. And we have our clip art, right? Our clip art. Now in the clip art this is where you would generally, if you're just now installing your software and stuff, where you'll have two categories. You'll have the clip art category and the design and make category. But one of the things that I really, really want to touch to you guys on is one of the things where we can add special folders, and we can pull files and things right from those folders and stuff. And let me show you what I mean. I want to go back to my job setup for a moment, and I want to set my job up for a 6-inch by 6-inch piece. Now, the reason why I'm going 6 by 6 on this is because I'm about to trace an image. Okay. Now, when we bring images in, whether it's clip art, JPEGs, PNGs, bitmaps, GIFs, or TIFFs, we have to trace that image and turn it into a vector in order to be able to create toolpaths and things on it. We should only have to ever trace an image one time. From there, then we should be able to bring those files in anytime that we want. Now, and never have to trace that image again. Now, in earlier classes and stuff, you might have seen me talk about when we trace an image to have that image highlighted and then come back and export that highlighted image as a DXF file into a special DXF folder that you can use in future projects, right? Well, one of the things that I want to do is I want to bring an image in, and I want to show you how you can actually save your CRV file into your clip art to be able to pull that object in at any time, that CRV project file and all. And because we can create these different vectors and things and all, we want to kind of keep things stationary because they're scalable, right? It doesn't matter what size we draw them in or trace them in or whatever the case may be. When we bring them into a job, we can scale them up or down to any size that we want. And so I like working with a 6" by 6". That's going to be my, when I'm tracing an image and all, I'm going to trace that image in a separate project, a 6" by 6" project. And then I'm going to store it into a folder. So let's go ahead and do that so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and import a bitmap under my file operations. I'm going to import a bitmap, an image that I want to trace and stuff. And I'm going to go into my downloads. And let's go ahead and let's view the medium icon so I can see the objects that I have here and stuff. And I'm going to grab an image. And I want to grab, what image do I want to grab? Let me get down to some images. I want to kind of keep it generalized. I don't want to go into, let's grab, oh heck, let's grab this heart. We'll be sentimental for a moment. Okay. I'm going to go into my trace tool and I'm going to convert this to a black and white image. And I'm going to turn the fading off. That's the first thing I want to do down here at the bottom. I want to turn the fading to none so I can see the image in its full glory and stuff. And now I'm going to slide my slide bar to a point that I get a nice fill of that black and white image of my design, and I don't have too much noise or pixelation and things. I want to get a nice fill. So for me, I should be good. Right there is kind of deteriorating. So let's get back up into around 72. Looks good to me. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and one of the things that you were not able to do before, just so you know, let's go back to our image here. One of the things that you were not able to do in version 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5 is when it was in picture format, bitmap format, JPEG, bitmap, GIF, and TIFF, you were not able to rotate that image in any fashion, form, or what have you. Well, now, not only can we scale an image when we import it in, but we now are able to rotate that image. And we can, rotate it before we even trace it. If we're trying to get a little bit of a layout going and then we want to go in and trace it, we can now rotate a bitmap image. It's one of the features that might be minor, but is helpful. If I wanted to bring an image in and just kind of get it, rotate it, get it in position just to see if that's the image I want to use, I can do that now. I don't have to trace it yet. I don't have to waste that time. Again, now we're shaving off little bits of time and stuff and everything. So I can go ahead and I can get that image, sized down. I can get it over to where I want it in my design. And if it needs to be rotated a little bit, I have all that freedom now to do. And if I like, you know what? I like it there. I like the way it looks and all. Then I'm going to go into the tracing and all of that wonderful stuff, right? So I can kind of, if I don't like it, go find another image. You know what I mean? But I now have the ability to freeform move that bitmap image. Okay. So it's a wonderful thing. Let me get back to where we were here, and let's go back into our trace tool where we were, and let's turn that fading off. Now, this is a pretty good quality image, not a whole lot of pixelation or anything. So using my default corner fit for my lines and stuff, that's going to be where I want to be. You can set a loose fit or a tight fit on your corners and inside and outside corners and stuff. I like the default. Always have liked the default. I very rarely go off of the default unless I'm doing like a block style, text or something, or somebody's, company logo that they would need me to vectorize for them or what have you. And that their lettering might be a little blockish, then I'm going to use kind of a tighter inside and outside corner fit. So those lines get tighter on those inside and outside corners. Well, on a curved image like this that has a lot of curves and contours, I want not too loose of a fit. I don't want it to be too sloppy. I want that just right fit, and the default corner fit's going to do that for me. That 82%. It's going to give me a nice, curved contours and things and all when I'm tracing. For my noise filter, talking about the pixelation, this is a relatively good size image. I recommend when you're tracing images, get a high quality pixel count. 800 by 600 or larger is a good quality pixel count for tracing an image. When you get less than that, you start getting into thumbnail size images and all, and you're going to get poor results in your tracing. Not say they won't work and stuff, but you want the highest resolution possible to get a solid, good trace and all. So I've got a good layout here and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my noise filter at 2. If it was a low pixelated image, I would probably crank it up to 6, 7, or 8. Kind of that general range. I've never really had to go full on 10, but 6, 7, or 8 is a good range. But I'm going to stay with the default on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and click preview and trace it. Okay, so now my work is done as far as tracing my image. I'm going to go ahead and click apply and close that tool. Now I don't need the image visible anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that layer off. Now. Understand this. What I'm about to do when I save this file into my clip art folder and stuff that I can use in future jobs, it's going to be saving it. I'm going to be saving it as that CVS file, that CRV file, not CVS. I'm thinking of the CVS grocery store. Shout out to CVS. CRV file. When I save it in that format and everything, it's going to save not only the design, but it's going to save any layers that I have created. Right? So what is the benefits of that? When I pull that job in, it's going to pull in all those layers. What's the benefit of that? If I've done a tracing and my object has more than one layer, maybe I have my inside circle traced or my outside profile or the inside heart, whatever it might be, and I've separated those individual vectors into their layers. When I save this into my clip art folder and I go to use this in another job and I pull it in, it's going to pull those layers and those separations into that new job with it, which is great because I don't have to recreate those layers. They're already there. So it's a big benefit to me. In this case, I have 2 layers. I have layer 1, which is the layer that the tracing was dropped on. And then I have my bitmap layer, which is my image layer. Now, in this case, if I have the vector, do I really need to save the bitmap layer and bring that into the CRV file? No, right? But I may want to keep it in there if it's something that I need to maybe open that bitmap layer to be able to reference that image, right? But if I keep my bitmap layer in all of my tracings, my CRV files and stuff, then every time I bring in that object, if I'm bringing in multiple objects into a job, it's going to bring in all those layers and it's going to bring in all those bitmaps onto the same bitmap layer because it doesn't create multiple bitmap layers. It only creates one, and all those images are going to fall on that bitmap layer. And I don't want that. It's just going to become a visual mess for me when I, go to activate that bitmap layer and look at what's on there and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this layer. I don't need the image anymore. Okay, I'm going to delete the data on it. I'm going to get rid of it. Let's go ahead and zoom out. I'm going to use my magnifying glass to zoom out. And let's go ahead and let's get this object up. I want to get it to the best size that I can for this 6" by 6" area. Again, it's a scalable graphic. I don't have to do this, but it's how I want to set up my clip art area and everything. So I'm going to maximize this out to about as far as it can go. I want to get it centered on the screen. You're going to see it center there, and you're going to say, okay, what did he click to do that? I clicked the F9 keyboard shortcut screen. The F9 screen, the keyboard shortcut to center that onto my material. If you don't use your keyboard shortcuts, under transform objects, last icon is the alignment tool, middle tool up here under align to material, that will also center it as well. Okay, all right. Now, here's the pro tip. I've got this traced, right? I've got it laid out and all. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save my work. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as, I'll give it a file name of, I'll call it a deco_heart. And I'm going to save it to my clip art folder in my Vectric files. And where that is located is on your C drive. Users, public documents, Vectric files. Okay, and within those Vectric files, you have different configuration files. You've got design and make models that go into there when you download models from designandmake.com, your clip art library, your material images. If you ever wanted to add some special pictures to your material, which I'll show you in a moment how to do, you can add those material images in that folder, and then all of your tutorial files that you download when you're watching the Vectric tutorials, they go into this folder here. I want to go into the clip art folder, and you'll notice here that I have a folder already called custom. Okay, this custom means me, what I've done, kind of, you know, custom. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and save this deco heart into the custom folder. Okay, all right. Now, Laney, what does that do for you? You know, now that you've done that, what's the benefit and all? Well, I'm going to close out of this program. And oops, I didn't mean to close all the way. I was just going to close. Let's go back to VCarve Pro. I'm going to close out, and I'm going to go ahead and create my job that we were just working on, my 20 by 11 1/4. Get back to that, 20 by 11.25 by 3/4. Working off the machine bed in the bottom left corner, and click OK. All right, now I'm getting ready to lay out my sign. I'm making something for my little Valentine or whatever the case may be, and I want to use a heart, and I know I've got some clip art hearts. So let's go into our clip art folder here, and in our clip art folder, we don't see the custom folder yet, right? There's, we don't see it yet because we're looking at the main categories. I've got to go into my clip art category, and we'll find the custom folder under clip art, because that's the folder that I saved it in. I saved it into the clip art folder, right? So now when I come over here in custom, you're going to see my deco heart here, that project and everything, you know, right there. Vectorized, traced. I don't have to trace another image. All I got to do is drag and drop or double click, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and drag and drop the deco heart in. Boom. You know, it's already, you know, ready for me to rotate, layout, size, whatever I want to do. And I'll go ahead and get it positioned up here. And of course, if I come in, no other layers, right? Because I didn't have any other layers and stuff. Just layer one, right? My drawing layer, but it's right there. I can use it and drag and drop, or I could have made a copy of this one, right? You know, but I can drag and drop anything that's in my custom folder into my project, just like I would drag a model into my project if I was using a model, right? Just like I would do that, I can now do that with my vector files and everything. Now, you'll notice up here that I have a DXF file, right? A folder, and there's nothing in it currently right now. But earlier versions, I was telling you guys to, you know, save your traced images, export it out as a DXF and put it in a DXF folder. That way you can bring it into your job and stuff. Well, now we don't need to do that. We can just save our CRV file right into our clip art folder and be done with it. So And when I do image traces from this point on, if I have an image that I want to trace or use in a job, I'm going to set up my 6x6" job. I'm going to bring that image in, I'm going to trace it, and I'm going to save that CRV file into my custom folder and everything. And that way it's there. If I'm down one day and don't have anything to do and stuff, I might go ahead and trace a bunch of the images that I like and stuff and start building up my custom folder and stuff, and things. But now we have access, we can go ahead and come in and grab from there and stuff. Very cool stuff. All right, now I want to jump over to, in my clip art tab, I want to grab a piece of clip art. Let's go into custom, not custom, let's go into decorative, sorry. And I want to grab a piece of clip art, and I'll just grab this fleur de lis right now. Let's get that dropped in and stuff. And I want to talk about the new features in the modeling tab for a second, especially in our component level working with and all. Yes, Michael Hirsch, real quick to interrupt what we were doing. Michael Hirsch asked, are the new artwork included in Vectric VCarve 10? Define what you mean by artwork, but what we have in V10, some of the new features and everything that you'll see is we have a new thing called game layouts, 2D game layouts. We've got a cribbage board oval shape, a cribbage board rectangle shape, and a cribbage board round shape. We've got a peg solitaire square game, a peg triangle, and a tic-tac-toe. So we have some new game layout vectors that we can drag and drop in for some new game layout and stuff. So I had to download it first so we can do, if we're doing a cribbage board or whatever, it's already kind of pre-laid out for us and all that. Awesome. Thanks, Vectric. We've got some, we've always had 2D vectors and stuff, but one of the cool things, we've got some new stylized words that we can work with now in version 10 that are already laid out for us. So everybody loves it. It's Halloween. So let's throw a boo up here. It'll take for a second for it to download. There we go. Because notice these arrows here next to my models and all, they're still up in my cloud in my VCO account in Vectric and all, and I haven't downloaded all the folders and stuff, and I keep them in there until I use them and everything. So you'll see those gray arrows until we first use it, drag and drop, then it'll be downloaded into our folder, and stuff. But we have some new stylized words and designs and things. Let that one take a minute to kick in. But special occasions and stuff, let that one kick in. Here we go. Oh, that one didn't drop for me. Let's drop it again. Happy birthday. So they've already done welding and laid out some stylized letters and everything for us and all. So that's included with 10. That's nice and everything. We got some cool new rotary profiles that we can work with. Rotary profiles. Let's get into the gray area with these. For different types of spindles, table legs and spindles and things. We got some new profiles to work with our rotary and all that. So some very cool stuff there. And let's see here, stylized words, rotary. And I'm sure running through some of these existing folders, there's new molding profiles to use with our molding toolpath generator. When we're doing molding, we've got some nice new molding profiles to work with. Let's drop one of those in and take a look at it. So we've got some nice new molding profiles that they gave us a folder of. So really some cool stuff. So Michael, I'm not sure if that was your question and everything, but yeah, those are included in version 10 and everything. All right, let's go ahead and let's get back to this fleur de lis and back to the modeling tools. And I'm going to get rid of this heart for a minute because we now know how to bring in that CRV file from our custom folder and all. But one of the things that you may or may not be aware of is in the component levels, we had the ability to mirror an object. And let's split the view for a minute so you can see what I'm referring to, and let's get that a little bit more centered on. But we had the ability to mirror a level. So in this case, I want to mirror left to right or top to bottom. Let's go top to bottom. And so what you'll see is everything in the top half of my board gets mirrored to the bottom half of my board to create a completely different project. And as I move this object more towards that top half, you see that little divider line pop up, and you'll see how we can start to create really nice new custom modeling and stuff. But what's cool, one of the new things that they've added to the levels is clipping. So how do we use the clipping layer now that it's there, Laney? How do we use that and stuff? And so what I'm going to do is I want to clip away this left side of this floor to leaf here, and stuff. So I'm going to go back into my vector tools, and I'm going to draw let's do this. I'm going to go into my modeling tools here. I'm going to select my model, and I'm going to come in and create a vector boundary around that model. And you're going to see it create this boundary, and the boundary is actually being created on the mirrored level. So if I turn off the model, you'll see that that boundary was created on the mirrored level of things and stuff, And one of the things that I can do now is let's turn off that model for a second, and I want to edit my vector here. I want to go into my vector here for a moment, and I want to take a straight line from the center here down to the center here. And I want to use my scissor tool, my trim tool, and I just want to trim away this half, right? I want just this half here. And it's got to be a closed vector when we do the clipping tool and stuff. So now I'm going to turn my model back on. And what this is going to do, now that I have this new clipping layer, I'm going to select my vector. And then I'm going to hold down my shift key and select my model. And I'm going to go into this level, and I'm going to add the clipping function to it and cut away that half of that model. Okay, so it gets rid of everything that is outside of the clipped area. So it only keeps what is, protected by the boundary, right? So what does this do for me? Now that I can cut and manipulate a model, how does this help me with what is clipping? What's one of the benefits of clipping and all? Well, let's find out. So I'm going to go in and let's go ahead and we'll delete this vector for now, and let's go into our clip art here, and let me grab an animal, and I'm going to go in and let's drag this horse over, and on this I'm going to use an ellipse, and I'm going to come in and draw an ellipse because I just want the horse's head and neck area, just this area here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into my modeling tools, and I'm going to turn off mirror mode right now. I don't need mirror mode on, no mirroring. Okay, I'm going to turn off mirror mode and stuff. And let's come in here and let's turn off. Notice how my horse is kind of clipped and all still. Well, that's going to go away once I reinsert the new clipping function. So what I mean by that, by reinsert the new clipping function, is basically reselected. I've got a new selection here, and I'm going to select my model, and I'm going to go into level 1. Oops, let me select my model. Sorry about that. I'm going to right click on level 1 and clip that. Turn that on. Okay. And so now I have just this horse's head and everything, and I can come in and I can size my object up. Go ahead and get that sized up. Okay. However I need. Now, every time I make a change and everything, I've got to reinitiate my clipping. I've got to basically update it and all. and everything. So we'll go ahead and, because it allows you to make changes to your model any way you want. So that looks good and everything, but I don't like this big swoosh that I have back here on the main. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to rotate this ellipse a little bit and see if I can pull that down a little bit here. And I'm going to go into node editing because I don't really necessarily need that lower part here. So I'm going to go into node editing real quick on my object, and I'm going to turn this into a line and delete that point and pull this down just a little bit. I want to kind of have this line. Let's pull this down. I want to get that whole mane in there. But I just want this area of the horse's head, so I can manipulate that any way I want. Let's go back over to here and let's activate our new clipping and all. And now I can adjust my mouse. I'm going to leave my clipping here, and now I can come into my model and let's get it into selected here. My mouse, did my mouse just die on me? There we go. My mouse battery is getting low. I better start thinking about it's wireless, so I better start thinking about plugging it in. But now I can come in and I can move my horse around anywhere that I want within that clipping vector, because clipping is still on. So I can adjust how I want that horse to look, and it's going to automatically update that position. So maybe I want to kind of be down here a little bit just to get, you know, that horse's head and all. And once I click off, then, you know, I now have that. So I have the ability to create a boundary, you know, if you will, some kind of boundary. And I can now choose what part of the model that I want and what part of the model that I don't want and everything. And where that helps me when I am working with objects that are not like this horse or whatever. Let's get rid of this horse for a minute, and let's go back into our clip art here, and I want to go into a let's go into a objects and people, see what they have there. Let's grab this soccer ball here, and I'm going to go into full view for a moment, and let's get rid of this vector. And I want the top part of this soccer ball. I'd like to come in and go to, let's go to my plaques and panels, and I'm going to grab this panel here, drop it in. And let's size this panel up a bit. About like that. And let's take my soccer ball in this panel and let's get them centered on each other. So I'm going to go into my alignment tools and align to center left to right. There we go. Get it nice and centered. Now, if we split this view back up, and look at this view, and let me turn clipping off. I still got clipping on. Let me turn clipping off. If we look at this model and everything, and I'm going to go into full 3D view on this for a moment, but my soccer ball here, part of it is still kind of onto the model where this dome, where this curve is and everything. And so I'm kind of seeing that on that dome and curve. I'd like a nice clean line a nice transition for this plaque that I'm going to make for Junior, who's a soccer fan or whatever the case may be. And I don't want it kind of bleeding into my plaque or my other model or what have you. So I'm going to go into my drawing tools and let's go split our view again. And I'm going to go ahead and come in to my modeling tab and select both of my components here and create that clipping layer or that vector there. But I need to go into my circle here and see if I can just get well, actually, stupid me, don't do that. I just all I got to do is come into here, go into node editing mode and cut the vector here. Cut the vector here. Get rid of this lower half here. Now, I do not want my panel on the layer that I'm about to clip. So I need to create a second layer, insert a new level, not layer. Laney, say the right terms, level. When we're in the componentry, we're dealing with levels, clipping level, not layer. I need to create a new level and I'm going to put my soccer or my panel in that level so that it doesn't get cut or clipped or anything. When I come in and take my vector here and join it with a straight line, right? And now on my soccer ball level, I can go ahead and clip that, okay, to create that nice transition there. I could go ahead and let's click out of this. And now I need a little bit of a adjustment here. So I'm going to take a rectangle tool and I'm going to kind of take off this area here. And I'm going to make this vector just a little bit bigger. And with that selected and my panel selected, I'm going to go into this level up here where my panel is and turn clipping on that panel and get rid of that. Oh, Lane, you're an idiot. Don't do what I do. This is supposed to be not the rectangle. That's it saves what you have surrounded, Laney. It saves what you have surrounded, son. So I'm going to select that level there and create my vector boundary around it. Let's go ahead and delete that. Turn off clipping for right now. Got to turn that level clipping off. There we go. Create that boundary around that component. And then I'm going to edit my vector. And I'm going to cut the vector right here and right here. And I'm going to take both of those nodes and I'm going to come down to right about where the white starts. I'm going to wake up that node so I know where to go to, and I'm going to come up and kind of box that in and everything. And notice my line wasn't that straight. That's okay. I'll go back into node editing mode and let's select this node first. Hold down my shift key, select this node last, and hit the X on my keyboard to pull that line into alignment left and right, my X alignment and everything. Okay. So now I can come in and select these two vectors. join them together as one. Oh, this needs to be joined as one. I'm going to use my extend tool to help me out with that. My extend tool is going to allow me to extend this line from here to here. And now I should be joined there. Good. So let's make sure my other side is still good. It is. Wonderful. So with those vectors selected, I can now come in and, make sure that they are closed. So I have two open vectors. When I hit join, I'm going to have one open. And the reason why it's open and why it's still open is because I'm not quite connecting where I need to be. And most likely it's going to be because of that line there. Let's go ahead and check over here. It's going to be over here. Yeah, I got to extend this one too. So extend from here to there. All right, now, Laney, now, Buddy Row, close it up. Join and close that up. Yay. Okay, so now that I have that vector drawn out the way I want, I can go ahead and go back into my modeling tools, turn on the clipping layer to clip out that section there, right? See how it's kind of squared it off? And now I can come in to the combine mode and make sure that they merge. They're merged together and stuff. Okay. And on my soccer ball, remember I cut my soccer ball off, at this level here and stuff. I need to combine that, make sure that that's set to merge as well. And then I can go ahead and move my soccer ball. Don't move your vector there, Laney boy. Stand by a moment. Just the soccer ball, Laney. I want to come down a bit. I get that centered in right. And let's build up the height of that. You can see the two different levels there. Let's build up the base height of the soccer ball. Too high, too high. Let me see what the height of my panel is here. My panel is 3, 5, 6, 8. So let's go 3, 5, 6, 8. Should be good. Now, on my soccer ball, I've got to change where I'm clipped, right? So I'm going to turn clipping off on the soccer ball. And, it's here, right? So I need to, let me adjust my soccer ball height down now that I can see it a bit. Right about there. And I need to extend this line down. So I'm going to go into node editing and bump that, oops, slap my nose. I'm going to bump that down to here. Right about there. Very good. And I got to now close off my vector. So I've got this line down here, but this vector is still closed off here. So I need to go into node editing, delete this span, and then join. Let's go back in here, select this line, just that line, select this and join with a straight line once, twice, 3 times a lady. And I need to go back into and clip it. Let me select my model here. Clip it again. Okay. Now, still a little high on the, or low on the edges and everything. And unfortunately, I'm in Pro. I can't do any kind of smoothing and things like that and stuff. But this I will be able to work with the shape height, give it a little bit more roundness to the ball. So let's go into the properties and let's give the ball a little bit more roundness. And then reduce the base height a little bit. And I'm going to use my mouse to slowly get where I want to get. Okay. So I'm a little shy over here. I got a little bit of open space and things in there and all. But long story short, you guys are getting the idea. I can start to kind of customize my own designs by using the multiple models that I have, the multitude of models that I have within all the folders and all. I can start to manipulate these models and create completely new, different models that I didn't have by utilizing the mirror mode, by utilizing the component level clipping, and everything to create whatever I want. Now let me see if I have a better see what I got in panel and shields. Let's get rid of this one and drop this one into place. Wonderful thing about it, I still have my, clipping and all of that stuff and everything. So let me get this up into place here. I'm going to select that model. I'm going to select that vector, hold down my shift key. I'm going to get those two aligned together, centered up. There we go. And all. Wonderful. Excuse me. And I need to move that panel up into my clipping level. So let's turn that off. There we go. A little bit better transition there and everything with that nice little cove and all. And so now I can, start to play around and have some fun, right? I could have cut that in half. And let's see here. Let's take this soccer ball. Let's take this clip here and let's mirror this. Let's turn on mirror mode, top to bottom. On my soccer ball. And I need to mirror my vector as well. Mirror the vector, flip vertically. Oops. Stop that. Create a mirror copy, flip about job center and flip vertically. There we go. Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie. And with our components selected and everything, I can go ahead and go back into my clipping. This is what it would look like without the clipping. This is what it looks like. Oh, hold on a minute, Lane. Let me get this guy. He needs to be, oh, grab the wrong one. I hate when I show stuff and I screw up. And guys, nobody's perfect. We all screw up, right? So I need this node editing. I need these. Actually, get out of node editing mode. I need this down here. Like that. All right, let's turn off last time and then we're done with clipping. Let's take and select both of our vectors, both of our models. And I only, the soccer ball, I didn't quite mirror it about center, job center. Let me see if I can do that. Let's take that soccer ball and I'm in mirror mode there. There we go. Very good. And now let me trim, select both of these and my soccer ball, turn on clipping, and I should end up with this here. Yep. And then make my combine one merge. Okay. Now I've got to change my model height. Let's reduce down the base height. Oops. Right about there. Now, look at the soccer ball. What's missing from here from this lesson that I just told you? Yet you could do a tilt and fade mic, but the only thing is that builds up meat on one side versus the other, and everything. The fade, not the tilt, the fade would work good in this occasion. We can fade the soccer ball into the model, but what's missing here is my model here is not clipped. This vector here, is not clipped at all. So what I can do with this vector is go into node editing mode and cut the vector here. Cut the vector here. Delete that section. Mirror that, and I'm going to use my control key and control shift V. Oops. V. Sorry, guys. Oh, shit, Laney, how many vectors are you going to create there, buddy? And snap that to there. Join those two guys together. I got an extra one in there, but that's fine. Dang it. Ah! Sorry, guys. Flip that to the bottom. There we go. Sorry about that. I was doing vertical, horizontal, but this plaque wasn't centered, so it was screwing me up. All right, so we can go in here and close up this vector. It is still open. Where is it open? Let's change that to 0.001. Okay, I got a significant opening right there. join with a straight line. Close that off. There we go. All right, grab that panel, grab that shield. We're got to get off of this topic. Wasting a lot of time on it. And let's go in here and get our clipping level back. Okie dokie. Take that soccer ball. Little high right here on the edge. That is fine. Actually mirror my model. Sorry guys, let's get that model mirrored. And let's get this into position. Wonderful. Now, Mike was talking about the fade and everything. Can we use the fade in this? Oops, don't do that. And everything. I'm going to adjust my model height a little bit and then show you what the fade does. In here, fade allows me to set a fade point from point A to B. When I am fading, I can come in and fade from one direction to another. Let's go from here to here. And I can fade. This is a 50% fade is fine. I can fade that in, to get rid of that part, that piece that was showing and everything. So we could start to have some, thank you, Jeff. We could start to have some fun and do some fun things. Now, Mike, the fade in the tilt will allow me to blend models. The fade will allow me to blend one model into another by fading into it. The tilt is going to tilt one model to the left or right. What I'm doing here with the clipping is actually cutting away any excess that I don't need with the clipping function and stuff to basically remove those parts so that I can mesh or blend well together. So it's a little bit more advanced tool than the fading or the tilting, meaning that I can adjust or draw my vectors any way that I want, and I can trim and clip. And then now that I have a clipping function on, like all of these vectors are set for a clipping function now. And so as I move my model, let's split the view back up. As I move my model within these parts, what have you, and let's get that moved. I'm trimming and clipping to that boundary. I can, come in if I wanted to, come over here and cut off half of a model for whatever reason, whatever, the case may be, let's go ahead and take this, turn on mirror mode left to right, or right to left, actually. Sorry, mirror mode right to left. Now everything is clipped within my boundary, whatever my boundary may be. It's giving me basically that kind of, it's already cut that model to that profile and stuff that I can work with and adjust any way that I want. If I make this model, if I were to stretch this model out, then, you know, it's clipping that model area to that boundary that I've created. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? And everything. So, however I manipulate these vectors, you know, or however I move this model within those vectors is going to affect what my, you know, project looks like. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Okay, so enough about clipping and all that. Wonderful new feature. As you can tell, I'm new to it too. Still a little bit of new practice and everything. I'm gonna have some fun with it, with creating some ornate designs. I've got to do some. I'm in a new house. Got to build some furniture. Desperately in need of a couple of dressers, headboard, footboard for my bed, and a frame. So I'm going to start building some furniture for the home, and I want some really ornate designs on the drawers and stuff. I, within my clip art layer, am going to be using a variety of my decorative models that I have to create those ornate designs. I'm going to use combinations of features and certain sections and cut and clipped and everything to create those ornate patterns and all that I'm going to be able to have some real fun with and all. And you guys will see images and things of those. And if there's something that I really want to share, we'll do it as a project on Spindle TV and everything. So the clipping function, it's a component level clipping is what it's called. That is new as of version 10, allows you to create a vector around the area of the model that you want to keep and clips away the rest of that model. Okay. Tilting and fading has always been there in all the functions and features. Whenever you're working with models in your combine modes, merge, add, subtract, there's always been a tilt or fade function. The mirror mode came as of 9.5, if I'm not mistaken. And now we have the new clipping function that allows us to create a boundary around an area of a model we want to keep, clip it away. All right, cool stuff. That was probably a piss poor demonstration because the soccer ball didn't look really that good in that particular model, but you get the idea, right? Right. All right. So, okay. So we've got our component level clipping that is new to us. And let me turn these off, because next thing I drag in here will be like want to be clipped or something. All right. Now, when it comes to our Vectric software and everything, you're going to notice that we have a new toolpath, and it's the Photo VCarve. Okay. So Photo VCarve has been added to the VCarve software and Aspire, VCarve and Aspire software. So now we actually have the ability to VCarve photos in our, we don't have to have that separate standalone program of VCarve. And with Aspire, guys and girls, we have the new lithophane function and everything and all with that. But our VCarve function is great for doing VCarves and photos. And basically, if I have an image, let's go to downloads. Let's grab an image. We don't need an image of me. You guys see enough of my face already. Yeah, well, we'll do me. That's going to be about the safest image out there. Let's turn off our functions here. All right, once again, I can size up my image, rotate it if I want to, and all that stuff and wonderful stuff. But I can now come in with that image, and I can decide on my start depth. My maximum cut depth, I'll use it as a default of 0.1. Step over retract 0.12. Well, I'll leave the defaults for right now. The tool that I'm going to be using is going to be a 60-degree V-bit. And I can do a raster, hatch, selected vectors if I wanted to just do a certain section, you know, of that image and stuff. Let's see, we'll use a about 168% here. My line angle 45. We can go ahead and calculate that tool path and stuff. And you'll see that, you know, we have a series of tool paths that we can use. I should make that faster. Let's turn off the tool review. All right, so I'm using a very sparse, dense line. You can't really make out anything, right? You can't really see anything and stuff. Got to, you know, fill in. Not very good there. So what I want to do, go into my VCarve toolpath and let's, you know, change some of the parameters and all. So the line spacing, you know, I could be dense on the line spacing. I could be, you know, sparse and everything. My line angles, my step over retract, all that. My maximum carve depth, I don't want it to be so deep as 0.1. I'm going to set that to actually 0.06. My step over retract, let's go too many decimal points. 0.07. I'm going to go with a dense line spacing and 45. I'm still going to keep. Let's go ahead and calculate that out. Let's turn off. Not turn off. Let's reset the preview and let's look at our line spacing. Much more dense lines and everything and all. So let's go ahead and preview that selected toolpath. Now, a VCarve toolpath is going to cut deeper grooves for your darker areas, shallower grooves for your lighter areas, and you know, based on your material, based on your selection and things, in your photo, most definitely, this is where a very nice photo comes into play and everything. Let's go ahead and turn up our simulation quality, which it already is, and let's zoom in here and see what we got with our image and all. So good, not great. The quality of my image is not that phenomenal, but I can go back now into the software. I can go ahead and go back over to the drawing sides, and I can, if I need to, I can adjust. And that background is crazy. We need to get rid of that background, really. But I can adjust some settings. Let's give myself a little bit of a higher contrast here. Really make those blacks stand out, the whites stand out. And the gamma, oops, too much gamma. Nice looking image. Apply that. All right, let's go ahead and try that out. So we can now, you know, tighten it up. Something to play around with and have some fun with. You're definitely going to have to color your photo or paint your photo to really get those contrasts and colors to stand out and everything, to get your image to stand out and stuff and all. You're going to have to really get that that transition and all looking good. Let's change. I usually go with a piece of cherry that is painted white. So we'll give that a white background. And again, not the best quality photo, but now Photo VCarve is included in version 10. It's awesome. So let's talk about what in VCarve, what everything is. Let's get up here. Okay, so start depth is going to be where you're starting at, you know, the top of your board, the bottom of your board, those type of things. Your max carving depth, how deep are you going to be cutting these lines and things? I generally around a 1/16 of an inch or less, you know, around a 1/16 of an inch or less, generally kind of work with. The step over retract, I'm not quite sure what that is. So let's use the new function of get help on this. Let's go ahead and click on that little question mark. Let it open up. Boom, boom, boom. And let's talk about step retract. Okay. This parameter specifies how much the tool will retract before moving to the next line. How high it's going to raise up above the board before it moves. This should be set to a value high enough to allow the tool to move safely to the start of the adjacent line, but as low as possible to avoid slowing down machining, you know? So 10 thousandths of an inch may be a little close to the board, right? That's only 10 thousandths. I may want to, you know, bring that up a little bit, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch or something. Just safe enough to clear the board, but not high enough to where it slows down machining time, right? Right. Now, sparse or dense, you know, on the lines. Dense is going to give me more line spacing. Sparse is going to give me a much more spread out line spacing and stuff. And we have basically from 100% to 400%. So if I split this right down the middle, let's see. So that would be 2. Get my mouse to work, right? That's good enough. If I were to calculate this out at a line spacing of 200%, and let's reset the preview and let's look at our lines, they're going to be much more spread out from one another than if I were at a more dense line spacing. They're going to be much tighter to one another. And of course, if I was way more sparse, calculate that, we're going to be further apart. We're not going to get it's not going to be a very good looking image and everything. So in this case, I'm generally most likely going to work with a dense line spacing here, 100%. I'm going to I'll probably maintain the 45-degree angle, but I will experiment with you know, different angles and things to see what those line angles and all do for me if I were to reset this preview and preview the select toolpath with this is about a 20-degree angle, 21, I believe it was, and everything. Not so 45. Let that run out. And then, we'll be able to carve that image. Again, now, when I go to carve this and everything, depending on my wood, let's say that I was using oak, right? I would never carve a VCarve image in oak because the grain in the oak can get kind of open pored and wild and stuff. So, we may lose some of the detail in the image and everything. I would probably use a cherry. A cherry would work good for me. I usually do cherry with a painted white surface to give that contrast of that white and red of that cherry and everything. Or I could, just paint whatever board and just fill in a black paint if I wanted to and stuff. But if I am going to do a photo VCarve or something, oak is going to be furthest from my pieces of wood. But you're definitely going to have to give yourself some color for that image to stand out and things. But also be mindful of the grain direction, open pore grain woods, or just crazy grains, because it really deters, it really distracts from the image and everything. So be mindful of that. Okay, so we have a wonderful name, Photo VCarve, that's available to us, and which is awesome. And that it's 8:58. We've been going for a little bit. That is going to be, let me look at my notes here. Let's see here. Yep. So for tonight, guys and girls, those are going to be the 3 or 4 things that I wanted to talk to you about. And we're going to end on the tool database. Okay. This is going to kind of fill your mind with a bunch of stuff and all. And then we're going to go with some questions and answers. But then next week, is football season? Somebody shout out in the chat room. Is football season still going on? Is football season still happening? And everything. Let me know. Should the classes, if football season is still going, should the classes, should I kind of keep them on Tuesday nights for now until football season's over, or do you guys want me to switch back to Monday nights? I'm going to let you all who are sitting here watching me, if you haven't fallen asleep yet, wake up. But let me know, should I kind of hang out on Tuesday nights right now until football season passes? That way we don't kind of mess around, because unfortunately I don't, unless I'm at a cookout or a party or something where the guys got the football game on or something, I don't have time to watch sports. So unfortunately I don't get to sit and watch a game and all, so I'm not sure. So Tuesdays, yeah. Todd Roop right here, let's throw Todd up there. Todd Roop says yes, Tuesday. All right, Todd, your comment got thrown into the video. Yours, there you go. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to stick Tuesday. So next week, Tuesday, we're going to have a project-specific class oh, by the way, let's get onto my face here for a minute. Tuesday, we're gonna have a project specific class and everything. And we're gonna use some of the new features in 10, some of the old features too. We're gonna use all the features, but some of the things that I didn't cover, because there's a lot to cover in 10. It's a wonderful thing and everything. But I don't want to heal too much. When it comes to modeling, being creative and creating some new 3D models and all, you've got your new clipping level. Combine that with your mirror mode, man, the possibilities are endless. With that, the ability to bring in a picture now and rotate it and kind of get it, you know, how we want to see if we want to use that image or not before we do any tracing is great. Being able to trace or create, you know, a tracing or just a project in general, save it to our clip art folder and pull it in at any time with layers and everything is great. Having Photo VCarve as part of the software instead of a standalone program now is very cool. If we come in and look at the help on this one more time, get help on this tool, that little question mark. Read this. Gives you some help on preparing the bitmap for photo VCarving. It's going to talk about, you know, and give you instructions on the depths and stuff. It might even give some recommendations or what have you. You know, it's going to talk about your toolpath properties and stuff. So definitely read up on that and experiment with it, play around with it. If you haven't had Photo VCarve like as the standalone program, and now it's included in Pro, and you want to play around with it, do some Photo VCarving, it's a nice little trick and everything. All right, now let's close this tab for a minute. And before we get into the tool database, let's go ahead and answer David Kinsey's questions. Any special tricks when installing Vectric VCarve 10? Okay, any special tricks? Well, VCarve 10 is going to be located in your VNCO account. No special tricks, really. There's nothing to worry about. A lot of people, you know, have run into some issues with their CNC's machine. They're like, man, this didn't start till I downloaded V10. It had nothing to do with V10. So if you're been hesitant because your V10 is just new out and you haven't upgraded yet because you don't want to, you know, you've heard people in the digital VCarve user group or something say, man, something happened with my machine, it did this and did that or whatever. Man, I just downloaded 10 and you're thinking it's associated with that. It's, you know, it's pretty good. I've run it for a couple of weeks now, and I haven't run into any issues and stuff. I'm not saying that there aren't any, because you're going to see version 10.012 change to 10.015 or whatever their little patch and fix it. They're going to do that, but there's no special tricks at all. Just make sure that when you download the version 10 from your VNCO account, that you go through and download all the clip art that's associated with it, you know, in that folder and all for version 10, because there's some new clip art. You've got the new decorative words, you know, decorative text, if you will. You've got the new profile folder for your molding tool paths and for rotaries. You've got the, let me bounce back over as I'm talking to you, as you guys are looking at me. Let's see here. You've got the stylized words, the rotary profiles, the new game layouts. I'm really excited about the game layouts with the cribbage boards and all that stuff. And when I create my CRV file and everything, if I make some games, you know, like maybe I make, you know, aggravation or something like that, I can throw it in there. But be sure to download those folders as well, you know, with your models and stuff and all. Or keep them up in the cloud and just download them as you need them. If you download them as you need them, you'll see a little gray arrow. Let's switch back over to the software real quick. You'll see a gray arrow saying that, hey, it's available for download from your cloud space, from your VNCO account. And once you drag and drop it in, it will download and you know, come in. For you guys and girls that are digital woodcarver owner users, after you download the VCarve 10 software, at the end of the VCarve 10, it should ask you if you want to merge your tool database and your post processors over to 10 from 9 or 9.5, whatever you had. Do that. Click on merge, get those over there, and go into the software, go down to open application data folder, and just look in that application data folder. Go into the My Post P folder. And make sure that your post processor files are in there. You're going to have 4 of them: DWC G-code inch, DWC millimeter inch, DWC helical arc inch, DWC laser inch. Now you're going to see I have a couple of ATC ones. That's for the new unit that's coming out with our automatic tool changer. We'll be talking about those when the time comes. But make sure those files are in there. Those are the updated post processors. If you have a digital wood carver, of course. If those aren't in there, digitalwoodcarver.com. Go to the support and downloads page and download the latest post processors off that page. So, David, thanks for asking that question, but no special tricks. Just download it and install it. You'll be good to go. All right. Jimmy says, if you pay to upgrade to 10, does that cover all the updates until you get 11? Yes. So you get 2 major updates a year, and then free minor updates all the time and everything. So you'll get that'll take you to 10 and 10.5, and it should, if I'm not mistaken, take you to 11, Jimmy. Jimmy's question once again was, if you pay to upgrade to 10, does that cover all updates until you get 11? Okay. One of the best ways to say, yes, you get 2 updates a year, but for my, to make sure that I'm providing the most absolute correct information to you, let's take a look at the Vectric website for a moment. And let's go into upgrade here. And you can compare all your upgrades and stuff. Let's see here. Desktop, kind of give you some rundown. I think I'm in the compare page. Of course, I'm in the compare page. Let's go to support. Program updates. All right, I'll get to them for a moment. Okay, these are some of the past updates and everything. Wonderful. Let's go back to support here and all right. So we know that lifetime support, free minor upgrades. We know we get those free minor upgrades. No maintenance fees. And let's go to products. Bear with me a minute. get the latest downloads. Latest news, report. I believe that, Jimmy, I believe it does. Yeah, it covers all the way to 11. And I believe, because you get a year of updates. And if I'm not mistaken, the updates come out every 6 months if there is one. So it should cover you to 11. But what I'll do, Jimmy, if you tune in next week, I will specifically ask that question to Vectric and just make sure that my information is correct, because that's what I've been told and that's what I've known for the last 3 or 4 years. So, and I haven't noticed anything that contradicts that. I don't know if anything has changed. So let me verify and make sure that's correct. But yes. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So let's delete that ugly mug so you're not sitting there staring at it. All right, let's talk about tool database for a second. Some of the great new changes in the tool database, and they're somewhat advanced changes that we need to kind of do some educating on, and that's what some of my classes. I'm going to have a class strictly on the tool database here in the next week or two. But one of the nicest things, you may have heard me over past classes, if you've joined me before, you may have heard me talk about when you fine tune your settings for your tools and stuff, you can go in and create different categories. You know, you can add new groups and stuff and create a group for like pine and walnut and purple heart or whatever, and have your tools and their individual settings in those different categories and all. Well, evidently Vectric was listening, not to me, but was listening to everybody. And one of the things now is we can create tool databases based on material. So we can come in and we can add new material to our tool database. And when we choose that material, we can come in and we can add tools that we want into that tool database, and we can go in and change their parameter settings. So for instance, let's say my half-inch cove box bit, half-inch radius cove box bit and all, I can copy this settings from this tool, for this tool, right? From the imported menu, right? I could copy it from the imported menu, and I can bring it in, okay? And then I can adjust the settings for this. Okay, and now I have two completely different, same tool, two different settings because it's two different materials. So wonderful. Thank you, Vectric, for that. And unlimited list of materials that we can add, and unlimited, amount of tool database space that we can use to create our tools and stuff. So basically, I can come in and notice how all the tools are grayed out, right? We may not want to bring all the tools over and stuff and everything. And when we select the tool for the first time, we can then copy it, or the settings of it, from imported. And when we do that, and we make our changes based on the settings of that and all, and we click apply and stuff, that tool now becomes active. Notice how the others are still grayed out and everything here, but that tool is active. I can use it now in here. I've got all of my tools that I can use in my imported list. But now I can customize list with custom tools, even if it was all the tools, but they could have their own custom settings based on, their tool parameters and everything. And we'll get into tool parameters in a class. When we talk about the tool database, we'll talk about some recommended feeds and speeds. We'll talk about some different tools and all. I'm going to be really getting in depth with that and talking about tool specific things in a class. That's going to be important for sure. Now, one of the things that you'll notice over here is if we look down closely at the feeds and speeds, you're going to now see a new box for chip load. If we look up under the geometry, you're going to see a new box for flutes. Okay, flutes. So if I come in here and add flutes, it's a 2 flute bit and everything. If I add this in, then it's going to calculate my chip load. And for those of you that are new, and stuff, and you're not sure what chip load is a combination of your spindle speed, your number of flutes of your bit, your spindle speed, and your feed rate. Okay, how fast you're moving and stuff. It's going to tell you, it's going to basically calculate a value of how big of a wood chip is getting removed by that bit and flung away. When we're carving, we want to make chips, nice chips, not dust, fine dust. When we're carving, if we make fine dust, that basically is going to mean that heat has nowhere to escape, so it's going to stay concentrated in that carving area, and it's going to start building up on that cutter, that bit, and it's going to start dulling the bit. And as that heat is, when that heat starts dulling that bit's going to start performing poorer. You're going to start seeing your wood, that bit start to discolor. Your wood's going to start burning. It's going to start, tearing through the wood versus shearing through it, and carving it and everything. Chip load's important, and educating yourself on chip load is a good thing. And I'm going to help with that. I've talked about chip load in the past. There's a class I did on it, but I'm going to be doing some specific talks on chip load and tool parameters for different types of materials. We're going to really start hammering some of these individual topics and things to really focus on these things to get you guys the optimal performance of your machines and everything. We're going to get really specific in that coming down the pike. But if you are curious, you can go online. Let me grab a tab and pull it over here. Let's type in CNC chip load chart. Let me get this full screen here. There are different sites out there that will provide a chip load cutting chart for you based on the tool diameter and the type of material and everything. And these are the ranges. When I'm carving with an 1/8 inch diameter bit in hardwood, I want a chip load of a range of 3/1000 to 5/1000 of an inch on that chip. And we can tell the performance of our bits by the size of our chips if we're making fine dust versus chips and things. And you'll see the heat gets dispersed from the bit by those chips. Those chips actually, if you really looked at them closely under a magnifying glass or what have you, you'll see some slight discoloration of those chips because they're getting heated up. And that's the heat getting dispersed away from the bit by the chips and everything. And that's going to allow that bit to stay cooler during the cut, maintain its edge, all of that stuff and everything. So chip load is important. And how to use a chip load chart, right? You can, an example, chip load, right, equals the inches per minute, the feed rate, divided by the RPMs times the number of flutes, okay? And so you can find the optimal, based on your chip load, you can find the optimal RPMs, you can find the optimal feed rate, you can find the optimal feed rate inches per minute. and all, because you can just reverse the formula, right, of inches per minute divided by the RPMs times number of flutes. Okay, RPM times number of flutes, and then the inch per minute divided by that. That gives you the chip load. And you want to be within that range, depending on the different materials that you're working in and everything, and the diameter of the bit, And this is a great little website, cutter-shop.com. Shout out to you for your chip load chart. They have other valuable formulas here that tell you feed rate equals RPMs by the number of flutes times the chip load. RPMs equals the feed rate divided by the number of flutes times the chip load. So you can find all these different values, to really get some performance. And then I'm going to be hopefully working with a bit company here in the very near future, and we're going to really kind of hammer down some performance and different recommendations of speeds and feeds and RPMs for the types of material and everything. But a nice little generalization of education and everything is, chip load. And for those of you that are wondering what this link of this site is, it is cutter-shop.com. And then /information/chip-load-chart.html, right? And what I'm going to do is give them a nice little recommendation. I'm going to copy that URL and paste it into the chat area for you. And that should pop up here in a moment. And then it might be a good little reference page for you. Right. Okay. But all right. So we can now, when we're putting in the geometry of our bit, we can now be really bit specific, number of flutes and things like that. And then it will give us our chip load calculation and all. So we can kind of gauge where we're at in things and stuff, and make sure we're within our range and all. Now, also in the tool database, we could have multiple machines. So I might have a DWC 2440 or a DWC 5100, big old 4x8 machine. I might have a benchtop unit, the 1824, sitting on my bench. I can now add individual machines. I can now add individual machines. Sorry, I had to apply my change first. The make, model, the controller, and everything to my tool database. And I can have my tools specific not only to the type of material that I'm working in, but the machine that I'm working on, because I could be running 55 inches a minute doing a profile cut on my 2440, and I could be running 150 inches a minute on my 4x8 machine, cutting that same profile cut with my bit and everything. So I can now get machine specific, and I can get material specific in the tool database, which is phenomenal. For those of you that have hobby units, you have a bigger unit, and things like that. Now you can take your tool database in your Vectric software, and you can separate by machine, by material, and you can get all your parameters set for those, because you're running that way. You're not always changing your parameters in your default settings. You're not always having to go back to that single change this, because I'm going to be on this machine for this project, that machine for that project, whatever. Now I can be specific, machine, material, and everything. So love that. Thank you, Vectric, for that. And last but not least, let's talk about our tool names and everything. So I'm going to open up this edit button for the tool name here, tool name format. And with the tool name, I can decide what parameters and things I want to keep in my tool name and what I don't. So basically, I can right click on the name format field to see the insert variables, the available variables, should I say, for a particular type of tool. And the actual tool name displayed is for the tool in the active material / machine area. It will change if the variables used in the name format changes. Okay, so what that means is, let's go in here and right click, hide group with incompatible tools. Very nice. So we can actually hide groups that are not compatible to a project, to a toolpath. You know, if I'm doing a VCarve and the ball nose or the my bull nose bits are not compatible at all, it'll actually hide that group. It won't even show me those tools when I'm in that toolpath. Love that. But let's go into here. And in this menu, we have under geometry, we have the variables that we can use of tool type, units, units short, diameter, diameter fraction, included angle, all this stuff. Cutting parameters, pass depth and all. Feed and speeds, you know, we can add in. And so material, if I want to use the material name and the machine name. So what that means is I can come in and let's go in here and we have our tool type, right? That tells me what category I'm in. Right click and let's go with the diameter. And I'm going to put a little underscore between the two. See how the name changes here as I do that? Let's go ahead and you don't have to use an underscore. I want to know what material this is, what material category I am, and I want to know what machine this tool was calculated for. I want to know the machine, if I've named my machine or if it's the model or whatever, but I want to know the machine name, right? Okay. And of course, my machine name is imported because I don't have any specified machine name up here yet. I haven't set up my tool database yet. But now what that does for me is when I set this as the default for all my V bits, right? Every V bit is going to take on those variables and that name formatting, if you will. And I can even update existing V bits, all my V bits with these new parameters, and I can come in and click OK. And you will now see on my V bits that they are, you know, all going to be, those names are going to be updated and everything with my machine name and whatever value variables that I chose and stuff. And now when I come in here and go into imported, notice how the VBit changed from walnut to imported. So it'll be specific. So that way I know, you know, I'm in the right, I didn't just create a toolpath without being in the right material box if I've set it separated and all. When I save that toolpath file, you know, or I go into that toolpath file and everything, let's say that I come in here and choose my 60-degree V-bit, imported, right? And let's say that I came in here and went to select a bit and forgot to pay attention that I'm in the imported category when I want to be in the walnut, and I calculate this and stuff. I can now look and go, oh, wait a minute, that's supposed to be walnut. So I'm going to go up here and come back and make sure that I go to my walnut category and choose my bit. Oh, I got to add this one, copy from imported. There we go. Apply. I can now choose my bit and make sure that I'm using the proper bit for the machine that this job is going to be on, for the material that it's going to be carved in, all of that stuff. And you're going to have one project that's going to be carved in a multitude of material, whatever scrap you have in your shop. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you create a job that's going to be specific for, a particular sign material project, metal, aluminum, plastic, what have you. You can really now start to set your tool parameters, your machine type, and all that stuff in the tool database. So it's now a very powerful tool for us to use. And if we took the time to go in and properly set up our tool database with our categories and things, and if we did use multiple machines, set those up as well. And we go through and we start building our tool database of our RPMs and all. I can run faster on one machine than another. In Walnut, I can probably run about 60 inches a minute and still get a clean cut, no deterioration. In Pine, I could probably crank that up to 100 inches a minute. You know what I mean? And I could be running faster. So go through and set those parameters. And then when you're carving watch the cut. It's all visual. It's based on, what you see and what you hear. The sound of the machine. Is that bit struggling to get through that wood? Is it cutting like butter? Is it cutting right through? No problem. Go a little faster or whatever. Make sure your chip load is within range. But now you have the power, the tools to really set your tool database. And not only that, but the tool database can be uploaded to your Vectric portal account in the cloud and stored there as a backup in case you have to change computers or do whatever. You now have a backup, and it can be shared because you can put the Vectric software on up to 3 computers, and now that tool database can be shared or downloaded, for all 3 computers and be consecutive and the same, right? You only got to do it once. Get it done right once and get it uploaded to the cloud, and have it sync up to the cloud. The tool database has been uploaded to the server, right? And when you go into your portal, let me get to my downloads. When you go into your portal and everything, where's my VCarve Pro? We have our installer, we have our clip art and everything, and the tool database. I haven't done this yet. This will be my first time, so bear with me a second. The tool database is, let me see where it's stored in our account. It's not under the software. Let's back up to my main page here. That's my software. We back up to my main page of my account, and it might not be there yet. It might not be there yet, but hold on a second. It goes right into our account. Let's see here. VCarve Pro. I hate when I try to show y'all something and it doesn't work. Let me see here. Okay, so that's the download. It might take a moment to get up here. I've never done this yet, so bear with me. It might take a moment to get up, but it has been uploaded to my cloud. Upload your current tool database to the portal. So it's already been uploaded. Might take a minute to get there. Let me just see. Wonder how long it takes to get to the portal. Let's go back into view downloads. Man, I haven't done this yet. This will be the first time, but I just learned about it while I was in Denver. Software. There we go. Okay. And let me go to my VCarve Pro 10. Now here's the question. Does it create a folder or does it put it into the installer? I don't know. I didn't know. Let's find out. What I love about this. Hey, Lainey, great job. Nice showing us how you did that. Tool database. All right, let's go. All right, upload. When changes have been made to your tool database, this will upload it to the portal account so it can be downloaded from any other location linked to the same portal account. So we know that. Download the tool database stored in your portal account to replace your existing local tool database. This can be used for when we know when we know there is a more up-to-date version online. So the tool database can be stored and linked to your portal account so that it is reviewed or retrieved at any point from a different installation. For this, the software needs to be logged into the portal account. Then the database can be uploaded or downloaded as requested. So it stores it up in there. It doesn't necessarily specify where it stores it. And that I will find out. That I will find out for you guys, because I'm just as curious as you are. Because we got to be able to download it, right? We got to be able to download our tool database. And we need to be able to retrieve it. I'm assuming it's going to go into the software we saved it in. So, hate when I can't show you something. I'm gonna get 2 questions answered for this. One, how long does it take when it uploads to the cloud? How long does it take to show up in your portal account? And number 2, where does it get stored? Because that's 2 things that we need to know. We got to be able to download them once we install them. So again, I'm new to this, just like you guys are. 10 just came out. I just got it, not too long ago. But it's got to go somewhere, right? Right. So we will see where it goes, and I'll let you know. I will actually post a comment in the comment section of this when I find out. In the comment section of this video class, I'll post that in there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:41. Let's stop here. Do you have any questions for me? Knowing that I didn't cover everything and all, but do you have any questions up to this point? If so, ask them in the chat room. Okay, and we'll go from there. And then we're going to call it a night. So we're going to take about 15 minutes of questions, and then we're going to call it a night. Because we're already 2 hours in, going on 3. You're welcome, John. Okay, so Todd Roop asks, in the downloads, do you need to download all the clip art installers? No, you don't. You can actually keep them up in the cloud, and you can pull down the models as you need them. So when they are not downloaded on your computer, you will see a gray arrow showing that it is in the cloud, in your portal, basically. And when you drag and drop that model for the first time into your project, it'll take a second, and then it'll drop in, and you'll see then the model no longer has that arrow. It has now been downloaded to the folder on your computer to be able to use and everything. Okay. So, but no, you do not have to download all of them. You can pull them down as you need them. All right. So great question, Quad. All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Welcome back to me. I appreciate that. Great info this evening. And Mike, thank you. I appreciate that as well. So you guys and girls appreciate the comments and stuff. But yes, hopefully, Todd, that answers your question and everything and all. But no, you do not need to do them. You can pull down the models as you need them. If you'll notice on many of my models and things, let me get down to this. They're not downloaded yet, and I won't download them and store them on my actual computer. I'll pull them down as I need them and stuff. But they're always in your cloud spot. All right. Great questions. Great question. Ronnie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very nice of you to say that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. John. Can't miss old John up there. You're welcome, John. I appreciate that. All right. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and type them out now and everything. don't see nothing. All right, let's go ahead and close out of this, get back to that. And hopefully, I'm not going to say it's going to happen by next week because I got to go to North Carolina for the Klingspor Woodworking Show. By the way, going to be at Klingspor Woodworking Extravaganza Friday and Saturday in Hickory, North Carolina. Come on out to the Klingspor Woodworking Extravaganza if you're in the area and say hi. Burl and I are going to be out there, and we're going to be out there this weekend. And then for those of you that are digital woodcarver users and you're in the near or around anywhere close to the Dayton, Ohio area, we still have some seats open for our user group meeting for November 1st and 2nd in Dayton, Ohio, November 1st and 2nd. That's the Digital Woodcarver user group meeting. It's for digital woodcarver owners only. So there's still some seats open for that. If any one of you are want to, go to the website and check out the user group events and register if you want to jump in. All right. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So Bob says, could you please show the folders that you navigate to save your custom clip art? Absolutely. So in our computer under the File Explorer on your computer, that file is going to be located on your C drive, your local disk C or OSC, whatever it might be. You're going to go into users, the users folder, public, and then public documents. Inside of public documents, you will see a folder called Vectric files. And you open up your Vectric files, and that's where you find your configuration files, your clip art, your design and make models if you bought any and downloaded from designandmake.com, the gadgets if you've downloaded any gadgets, your material images, your tutorial files, and under clip art, I have a folder that I created, a new folder. By basically anywhere in white space, you can right click and go to new folder, right? Or up here in your menu, you can click on new folder, however you want to do. And basically I created a folder called custom. Okay, so this PC, your local C drive, users, public documents, and under the Vectric files, clip art. All right. All right. Let's see here. So Grant asked, in the tool database, was there an upload and download icon for the database? Yes. That's what we were just talking about when we were searching the cloud to see where it goes to. In the tool database, right here at the top, you have online. It lets you know that you're online and linked to your account. You got to be logged into your Vectric account. And then you can upload your tool database to the portal, or you can download your tool database from the portal. Okay, so these are the upload and download right there. Okay, right there. All right, Grant, I hope that answers your question. Let's see here. Jerry Williams and William Wallace. No, wait. William Wallace, I'll be there. That's cool. Look forward to it. And Jay Williams, see you there, man. Absolutely. Very cool. Jay Williams is going to be in South Carolina. All right. Marcia Jackson asks, does the tool database cloud download button work, even though not listed as a download on the portal? Well, that's a great question. So what Marcia's asking is, hey, even though I couldn't find it on the portal, right? Even though I couldn't find it on the portal, does the download button work? So if we download, this says this will overwrite your local tool database with the one held in the server last updated on 10/22/2019 at 21:33 hours. Do you wish to continue? Yes. And boom, it does. So let's verify that. So let's take this. I'm going to take this here and I'm going to delete under imported. I'm going to delete this entire category right here. The whole category, all 5 of these bits. I'm going to delete those. Okay, so it's gone. Now I'm going to download that tool database. Click yes. There we go. So Marcia Jackson, great question. Not sure where it stores to, but hey, maybe it stores up to their server and all and keeps it separated for you by your account name or something. I'm not sure, but the download button does in fact work. It's a great question. All right. Okay, let's pop back to me so I can bid you all a farewell. It's 9:52. We're going to go ahead and close out for tonight. If you still have a question, and I'll type it in, it'll show up in the video, and I can come back in the comment section and answer. Or you could always ask your question in the comment section of the video, and I can go back and answer and everything. Great things are coming with Spindle TV, guys. I'm looking forward to, one, getting my office set up and getting some decor on the walls so we have a nice little backdrop to look at and everything. Going to change around so I don't have the 2 doors behind me. But 2, the content is going to get rearranged and organized much cleaner on the channel itself as far as the video content and what the topics are and all. You're going to start seeing, other than live videos, you're going to start seeing short, to the point, subject specific videos, how to set your tool database, how to add a tool to the tool database, things like that, short to the point videos. You'll see those on the channel. Then once spindletv.com launches, you'll see some great content loading on there. You're going to see some new relationships with some new tool vendors and stuff with Spindle TV. That's going to be awesome, for, some tool resources and information and all. Looking forward to that relationship. And the main thing is, hey, on Facebook, it's new. The page is there's not a whole lot of content on it right now, but check out Spindle Training Videos on Facebook. Okay, Spindle Training Videos on Facebook at Spindle TV. Is the shortcut for that. But Spindle Training Videos, check that out. Follow it or something, so as I add content to it and things, you'll get those updates and all that stuff and all. So I'm really looking forward to all the changes. It's going to be a progression. You're going to see new things each week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Let's start that next week because I do have Hickory's show this week, we'll see what I can get done before next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, we're going to do class again at 7:15 p.m. And until next time, guys and girls and everybody, thank you for joining me. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Steve and Mary Quinn, so am I. So am I. Thanks, guys.